Hi, everybody. It's your old pal Chuck. And, well, there's no skipping around with it. You saw the title card. Let's make like Madonna and get into the groove, 'cause you have to. Sorry. This is from the Unite Warriors line. That is Takara's version of Combiner Wars. Um, Groove. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar, Takara has been handling the Combiner Wars line a bit differently than here in the United States and other parts of the world by Hasbro. They've been releasing the teams as five-figure sets, and in the case of the Protectobots, they went ahead and tooled up a new deluxe-sized figure for Groove, and instead of having Rook, we have Groove. And because their focus has been on releasing the most perfect version of the set possible. Um, and I have to say, this is a really cool figure. I really think Takara did a great job doing it. There are some things I like in the set, some things I don't. We can get into it a little bit later. Before we get really too far ahead into the figure, I just want to stop because I haven't seen the version I got is the Hasbro Asia version. Hasbro Asia is a special gray area. They can release Takara product, but when they do, like with the Masterpiece figures, we get these great collectible cards. And what they've been doing with the Unite Warrior sets is been doing collectible coins for them. I'm sorry I said cards, but I meant to say coin. And like the Masterpiece figures, they're really cool. They come in these nice, thick cardstock uh, cases that represent various, bits to the figure. Like with Star Saber, it opened up like the chest, and inside it was sort of like the inside of the Brain Master of Saber. Well, this is kind of cool. If you're looking, this is actually the based on what the Legends Groove looked like in his chest plate mode. So you're basically opening up Groove to reveal the card of Defensor here. But here's the cool thing. And this is like again, I think Takara kind of knew what they were doing. Um, in Japan, Defensor is called Guardian. So, but on the box, the set is referred to as Defensor. The five Protectobots have their American names, but on the coin here, and it's a little hard to see due to the glare, it says Guardian. And I think that's really cool that they were able to work that in. You have these layer homages. It's really cool. Speaking of which, I want to show you the back of the instructions. Now, as I'm sure some of you have heard, um, Takara has been doing little joke cartoons on the instructions of the for the various Combiner War figures. The Unite Warriors. Well, here you have um, the Protectobots having a little game of baseball, and they are using the combiner hands as mitts, which I think is hysterical. But what's really cool is the one fan right over here, you see where my thumb is. At first, I just thought, oh, it's just a random figure. And then it dawned on me who it is. If you remember, I think it was the season 3 episode where First Aid, who's right here, leaves the Protectobots. He goes to this junkyard that's run by an older robot. Because remember, this was in the future. Humans had robots, and they were talking, and he actually this was the character, and they actually helped First Aid come back and rejoin the Protectobots, and understand that it's like you do a great job, but you can't save everybody. It was really a good episode, and so it's really cool that they got that figure worked in the way they did. And I really do enjoy that between the coin and this, we have a lot of little nods and homages. But looking over at Groove, um, it is a great update to the motorcycle design. I want to say this is a Harley Davidson motorcycle, like from Chips. I mean, that's what it really looks like. I mean, it could be a Japanese design. I mean, let's be honest, these are changed enough so as not to infringe on lawsuits and what have you. The limb module can peg right here into the top. It's actually shown in the instructions. That's actually one of the things I wanted to talk about is unfortunately they kind of evened out the limb modules. Some of the figures come with, I mean, they haven't interfered with any of the vehicle connectivity, but as you'll see, when I do my comparison review, um, Blades, for example, does not come with the cannon that the U.S. Blades and Alpha Bravo came with. So a little bit different, but I can understand they want to have a little bit of uniformity. Ooh, just a little. I unfortunately it was actually balancing on the two tires instead of the kickstand there, so that's why it fell over. But as you can also see here, and I think this is a great bit on the Dakar design team, they were able to recreate Groove's original vehicle weapons, but in such a way that they also form his handguns, and they peg into the back wheels like this, and they actually, as you can see, those that painted red light, they're actually, I think, meant to be part of the vehicle design, like the tail lights. So it's really cool that they're there. These are very nice blasters. Um, they are done up. This is all clear plastic that's been painted gunmetal silver and with translucent red at the top, so you get that little bit of a light thing. I think right into not that handle, but it does appear to be some pin work to try and strengthen the posts here. But I really do want to stress that this is clear plastic, and there is more clear plastic on Groove than you would think. So just be careful. As I've mentioned, I had my Supreme Mode Transformers Adventure Bumblebee brake, the hand brake, and that because that forearm was all clear plastic. So just be careful with these. So just taking those off to the side, you can get a clearer shot of the motorcycle. Kind of looks a little thin now, but as I was talking about the clear plastic, I think this whole front section here is all clear plastic that's been painted into different shades. If not, I think then this is all clear that's been painted and you have the translucent blue plastic that's been attached. But I haven't been able to find glue seams or anything like that. So I think it's just all clear that's been painted. So we'll just pause and get into the transformation. All right, transformation for Groove is actually fairly simple and very close to the pre-existing transformation schemes of other Combiner Wars or Unite Warrior figures. First, what you want to do is go ahead and open up the legs back here. It swings down like that, and then the black section here, where my two thumbs are, those actually peg in to the back, what will be the waist of the figure. And this is actually very close to the G1 figure, but instead of this section flipping around to be the feet, it's just going to form the back of the legs. But this is very similar to the Aerial Bot transformation, where you have that telescoping legs. I'm very curious as to why that is, this is like, this leg transformation is used so much. Go ahead and split it open just like that. You can then go ahead, flip the wheels around just like so. Next, what you want to do is rotate the waist around so we have the figure standing up on its own. Go ahead, flip down the kickstand if you haven't yet. What I like to do now is just come in to the top here and flip back this whole section. Then you can just go ahead and rotate the back part around. Next, detach the arms from the chest. It pegs in. Let me just adjust the camera ever so slightly. Rotate them out to the side, and then bring it down. Very tight ratchet joints there. It's actually going to double fold it down because you want it to be just out and down, just like so. And then rotate the arms forward, right above the elbow. There's a swivel joint. Next, what you want to do, now, when I got this figure out of the box, the head was already rotated up. The instructions show that the head should be rotated down so the combiner port is up. So you just want to go ahead, rotate that head around so it's up, and then come back in here, fold the black piece back in, and then fold down the front wheel of the motorcycle against the back. And here you have Groove in its robot mode. And I have to say, very impressed. This is a nice, great, classic style update to Groove. And I have to really just say right now, this is probably the best motorcycle transformer I've ever handled. Um, it's just a great mold. I'm hoping maybe we can get it redone with to make it more of a soft tail design. Can do that front end, but usually motorcycle transformers, either the robot mode suffers or the vehicle mode suffers. That there's just something off. It can't hold a weapon or whatever. This is just a solid figure, and you come on in here. You can take the guns, peg them into the hands right here. It does have the standard articulation. If you're familiar with I would say more the aerial bots in terms of ratcheting in the arms, well, I should say faux ratchets in the arms, um, ratcheting in the shoulders, uh, just friction joints for the hips and knees, but these are a little bit tighter. There is also a swivel, but it's really not that important. I mean, really the joints will come into play for the various limb modes. I am a little disappointed that with the two guns there is no weapon storage. The port on the leg is now covered up, and there's really nothing else on the figure that can be used to peg it in. There is actually a port on the other side of this forearm that is designed that you can peg the limb module in. So besides having the two blasters on this arm, it has double Gatling machine guns, which is kind of interesting when you figure that Groove was really designed to be a pacifist. It fit that stereotypical 60s, 70s biker design. But yeah, so like I said, the robot mode is really cool. There is a little bit of light piping here because the head is all clear plastic, so just be careful moving it around. It is on a ball joint. Like I said, the front of the motorcycle is clear plastic. I think the rest of the arms and limbs or stuff are just, solid plastic, but who knows? It's just be careful when handling it. Now, let's take a look at how it transforms into its two limb components. Okay, seeing as how Groove is in ARM mode, we'll just start from here and go, I'm sorry, Groove is in robot mode, we'll go to ARM mode since it's easier, I'm sorry. First thing what you want to do is rotate the head around and then open up the backpack here and bring it down just so you can rotate the combiner port out like so and close that back up. I'm kind of annoyed that you have to open it up all the way just to get that port out, but what are you going to do? The next step is real tough right here. Go ahead and peg the legs together, and let me just say, transforming back into motorcycle mode, getting the legs lined up is the hardest part because of how the wheels join together. You have to make sure that there's these little lips here and that there's two spaces here. You want two lips at the side, two lips at top, and that'll hold it flush. And then as you're pegging the legs together, hold that in place because you can peg the legs together without the wheels being in right, and that can cause problems. Next, what you want to go ahead and do is rotate the arms so the biceps are facing away from the front of the figure. Basically, there are little tabs on the forearms. You want them facing towards the front part here of the motorcycle with the kickstand facing towards you. Go ahead, fold them down into the body, and then bend the arm 90 degrees, which is as far as the arm can bend. And these are very tight joints, which I am happy to see. And then just go ahead, rotate, depending on if you're making it a left arm, a right arm, go ahead and rotate the waist so you get that double knee bend, and attach the limb module as a hand, and here you go. I'm going to admit, I think Groove is a little weak in arm mode. Just because you don't have weapon storage, you can peg the guns into the hand here, but it looks a little silly, like they're standing off to the side. Also, the arms don't really peg in securely. It is nice that they did make that molded notch area, and that does hold the shoulders in place. But I think you have to see over time from play and stuff if you use Groove as an arm, um, how it holds up. Will things pop out? But now let me show you the leg transformation, as that's really the limb that Groove is meant to be. Okay, we're starting off in vehicle mode because, as with most Combiner War figures, to go into leg mode, it's easier to start in vehicle mode. I just want to go ahead and show you just to add the um, weapons here. You can actually have them in leg mode, and it does add a very nice aesthetic look to the figure. Just make sure they're pegged in properly here. They do peg in quite nicely and tightly. So first step, go ahead and flip up the kickstand. Next, what you want to do is bring forward the entire, well, not the entire wheel section because you have that peg already up, but just bring it up like that so you can rotate it down and have it forward, and you're practically almost done. Next, what you want to go ahead and do is bring the arms down and around, and basically what you're going to do is rotate them so they would be facing forward for robot mode, and there are little tabs on the side of the motorcycle right there where my finger is that will fit into slots on the side of the forearm. Just get them lined up properly. Unfortunately, that's one of the things about this figure is you they do have moments where, because of how things fold, you can't see clearly what you're doing often. But I mean, it does work. Hold on here. I not. Wow, Jesus, this is actually much harder. Oh, there we go. Much harder than it should be, but you get it pegged into the side there. You have a very tight, secure leg module. Go ahead, bring in the foot. And there it is. You have Groove in its foot mode, the way it should have been since day one. I do like Rook, but having Groove, it's just a much better figure. And it does rotate. You can rotate the knee and what have you, and stuff like that. Forward, up, and down. I should mention that if you don't rotate the head around, because you figure if you rotate the head, it'll be facing out like this, but if you bend the knee, you do have the head coming up a little, so it's 6 of one, half of another, but this is basically how I like to have Groove. I have to admit, I kind of have a soft spot when it comes to the Protectobots. They were my first, and really before I got into adult collecting, only Scramble City style combiner team that I had complete as a kid. And it was really cool. And I admit I was really disappointed when we saw Legends Groove. That the fact that it wasn't a limb, and then the figure itself really isn't that great. So when Takara, and they really shocked the transforming world when they did this, went ahead and created a whole new mold just for Groove. I mean, yeah, there is speculation that this could be an afterburner for Computron or something, but who knows? But right now, it's just created just for this set, which I think was like a Takara store exclusive, like online store exclusive set, and just that they went ahead and did that, it was just really cool. Groove is a great figure. Now comes the issues. If you already have the Hasbro release of Defensor, and the Protectobots, I don't know if I can recommend shelling out the money to get the Defensor gift set just to get Groove, because it is a lot of money. The shipping on something that big is massive. I mean, the thing came in a box, but also came in a shipping box, with its name on it. So I guess that's how these basically ship one in a case, and that's it. But I mean, it is very expensive, and if you really want like the pure G1, I'm sure go ahead get it. I'm sure you can probably sell the Combiner War figures on the side. I mean, there are some paint differences, but that's for another review. And yes, I will be, just doing a comparison between the other, the Hasbro Protectobots and the Takara Unite Warriors. But Groove deserved his own little spotlight. And what's funny is, now that Takara did this, people are now looking at him and saying, "You're going to do a Rocket for Blastoff?" So as you can see, I don't have Combaticons, and that's why I'm waiting to see if they're going to do a proper Blastoff. But yeah, this is your old pal Chuck. We're getting close to the Christmas time of year, so it's great that I was able to get this to you now, and hopefully the next review will be something really massive that we've all been waiting for. Until then, I'll see you next time.